Scrutinizing the Holy Bible means truth. Preachers, if you're going to teach, study that word, study the scriptures, because what you teach is going to be repeated, and then it'll become a false doctrine. Now, in the Bible, there's something about butter, honey, and locusts. I'm going to be reading out of Isaiah chapter 7, Judges 14, Luke 24, Matthew chapter 3, and Leviticus 11. Yet these may, and this is, I'm reading out of Isaiah. Therefore, the Lord himself shall give you a sign. Behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel. Butter and honey shall he eat, that he may know to refuse the evil and choose the good. For before the child shall know to refuse the evil and choose the good, is that something with the food that causes your brains, or it sounds something spiritual. So what God made for us is important. Okay, Judges. And after a time, he returned to take her, and he turned aside to see we're talking about Samson. He returned to take her, which is a lady that he wanted to choose. And when he went to get her, he returned to take her, and he turned aside to see the lion. And behold, there was a swarm of bees and honey in the lion. And he took thereof in his hands, and went on eating, and came to his father and mother. And he gave them, and they did eat. But he told not them that he had taken the honey out of the carcass of the lion. Luke. And they gave him a piece of a broiled fish, his disciples, after his resurrection, and of an honeycomb. And Jesus took it and did eat before them. Matthews. In those days came John the Baptist, preaching in the wilderness of Judea, and saying, Repent ye, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. For this is he that was spoken of by the prophet Isaiah, saying, The voice of one crying in the wilderness, Prepare ye the way of the Lord, make his path straight. And the same John had his raiment of camel's hair, and a leathern girdle about his loins, and his meat was locusts and honey. We're going to find out. You have a lot of preachers preaching in the congregation that the locust that John ate was a plant. Is there such thing as a plant? Yes. Can you eat it? Yes. But we're talking about meat. So we're going to find out, because for some reason they made it impossible that it couldn't have been locusts, like the bug, because that's unnatural to them. But you have to remember, there's people in countries that eat ants, chocolate-covered ants, all kinds of insects. So let's go to Leviticus chapter 11, and we'll find out what type of locust that God was talking about. Yet these may ye eat of every flying, creeping thing that goeth upon all four, which have legs above their feet to leap withal upon the earth. So we're allowed to eat that. Even these of them ye may eat. The locust after his kind, so we're talking about bugs, he said legs. And the bald locust after his kind, and the beetle after his kind, and the grasshopper after his kind. What? We can eat grasshoppers? But all other flying, creeping things which have 4 feet shall be an abomination to you. Okay, let's find out what does locust have in it? Locust is rich in protein, fatty acids, and minerals. It boosts immunity, fight cancer, and prevent inflammation or body organs. John stayed in the wilderness where it was like mostly dry, but I'm sure there was nearby waters. You can be bitten by many insects that causes infection. So the locust helps fight it off. Honey. What is in honey? And I'm going to tell you something. There are people who do all remedies, grandmothers, great grandmothers. The honey, when they have a cold, they take the honey and it's supposed to gather up all the phlegm and help you. I know it's real sweet. People who are diabetic, they tell you not to eat sweets, but God made the honey. And so he knew what he was doing. So let's find out, can diabetics eat it? So they'll tell you not to, but in moderation, it's a good thing. Honey, in those days, were eaten raw honey. We're not talking about the honey they make now. It's like more sugar they add things. Raw honey contains health benefits such as antioxidant. It is anti-inflammatory, same as a locust. Antibacterial, anti-diabetic. It helps your respiratory, cardiovascular, and nervous system. It helps your intestines, the gas. Gastrointestinal, and your nervous system. Honey and locust is both to prevent inflammation. That's a strong combination. And honey also contains copper, riboflavin, iron, magnesium, potassium, and zinc. So the locust that John ate was not a plant. It's a meat. And this is how he ate. Did he stay on that? No, I'm sure they ate fish and other things, but he was a called prophet from his mother's womb. So when God calls you, he sets you apart. You're not going to be in a lot of cliques. And when you do that, you can only concentrate on God because he's going to speak to you. A lot of preachers may say, well, that's too much. Well, who said you're not called from your mother's womb? Because everybody who prophesy, or just like Amos, is not a prophet. So you are set apart from everybody because you're a spokesman. You say what you need to say, word from God, and you go on about your way. So everybody's not called to be a prophet from the mother's womb. There's no such thing as school of prophets. Okay, it's made man. All right, and that includes my facts. Facts, preachers. The locust that John ate was not a plant, even though it exists. It was locust like the bug.